Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is Garrett the Bear, and I'm back to you guys again with a brand new episode of the GareTheBear Show podcast. Today's episode, I'm going to be sitting down and talking with one of my very good friends named Eli. We are going to be talking all about NBA free agency in 2021. Today, as of recording this, it is the beginning of free agency, and we're super excited about it. We have been talking basketball since we met back before freshman year started. We met the summer before freshman year and really just bonded over basketball, got to know each other because of basketball. Basketball really just brought us together, so we've been friends ever since, been talking about basketball ever since. It's been great. So sit back, relax. I hope you guys enjoy this episode of the show, and let's get right into it. All right, so today's episode, I've got my boy Eli on today. We're going to be talking a lot about NBA free agency, off-season stuff, because right now, like literally as of recording this, it's been free agency for 2 hours, and there's already so much action going on. So Eli, my man, welcome to the show.
What's going on?
So we've got a lot to unpack here today because we've just been talking a little bit before recording, and it's already insane. Like we have to get going because there's just so much to talk about. So first thing was the very first thing I saw, and I'm pretty sure the very first thing that actually came out on free agency was Lonzo Ball signing a 4-year, $85 million deal with the Chicago Bulls. Now, what are your take on that? What's your thought on that, my man?
All right. Well, actually, I have their depth chart pulled up right now.
Okay. We like a man with research here.
Yes, sir.
This is why you're here.
Their starting five isn't bad. So we got Lonzo and Zach LaVine. That's going to be a crazy backcourt, like we talked about.
Lob City, bro.
They got Patrick Williams, which is going to be a good second-year sophomore.
Yeah,
he's a great defensive player. Daniel Tice.
Oh, I forgot about him. Oh, I forgot about Vucevic too.
Yes,
dude.
So that is a good starting five.
That's definitely a playoff team in the East.
Yeah,
7 or 8 seed.
So I was gonna say 7th or 8th seed. Yeah, and then
easy.
Their bench. Man, they need some work.
They've still got work to do because they traded in the deal. It was Lonzo to the Bulls in a sign-in trade for like Tomas Satoransky, Garrett Temple, and a second round pick. So two bench players just went to New Orleans, which I feel like that's an underpay, but New Orleans lost that trade. Definitely.
Oh yeah, I think Lonzo definitely is one of the most overhated players in the league.
I agree 100%. Like he's one of those that once you look, by the end of this contract in 4 years, Chicago is going to maximize his potential, I think, and New Orleans is really going to see like, dude, if we'd have kept Lonzo around and paid him and gave him the primary ball handler point guard role with Zion and Brandon Ingram, they could have been, a championship team in the next 5 years,
Oh, yeah.
Because that's such a good young talent that they're just kind of wasting.
Yeah, because, Brandon Ingram is pretty much the second coming of KD, but just not.
Right.
I mean, he's a really good offensive player, and, we all know Zion. So.
Right, and that's the thing, his fit with the Pelicans, I feel like, was good because, you had Ball with the primary ball handler. He was a pass-first guard, which is rare. Rare to get one that's, super talented like he is, that can also shoot 38% from 3, which is outstanding. But you get Brandon Ingram, who can score in the wing and finish at the rim and shoot. And then you got Zion. You've got 3 really great building pieces, and they just let Lonzo walk. Well, basically let him walk because what they're getting back isn't a lot. It's not going to match up at all to Lonzo's impact on the game, I don't think.
So, obviously not this free agency, but what do you think of what Zion will do in the upcoming years?
Well, I think Zion, if he stays healthy, he's going to be a top 10 player in the league easy. Without a doubt, he will be top 10 player in the league. But I also feel like the Pelicans messed up again back to Lonzo because you're not going to get a guy who's so willing to pass to Zion and will go out of their way to get Zion the ball. You're not going to get another guy like that unless you sign Chris Paul or some other pass-first guard,
Yeah, because Lonzo is the definition of a pass-first point guard.
Right, he's your Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd type.
Yeah.
So, you can't maximize Zion if you don't have a guy to get him the ball. And obviously they've really adapted Zion, especially this year, halfway through, they adapted him to the primary ball handler, which is why Lonzo was only down to 6 assists a game or something. So, you had Zion kind of playing that LeBron role where he was the big and the scorer and the ball handler. He was taking all the things. And to an extent that works, but that's not going to get you very far. They didn't even make the playoffs. Yeah. So like
That's what a lot of people don't like think about, like egos and stuff. Like, so you're always gonna have a bunch of scorers, and like Brandon Ingram, I think he wants to be the man. Like, but he's not. Like Zion is the man, and I think there is gonna be conflict in the future whenever you have him and Zion on the same team, and eventually they're gonna get another star there or a good sub above average star. So
I
I
agree.
don't know if New Orleans will ever really work out, to be honest.
I feel like there's gonna come a time where history will repeat itself, and the same thing that happened with Anthony Davis will more likely than not will happen with Zion. Like they're gonna, like you said, they're gonna have conflict. Ingram's gonna want to be the guy. Zion is gonna be clearly the guy. So they're gonna move on from Ingram, and then eventually it's just gonna be Zion and a bunch of mediocre pieces. So you're gonna end up losing Zion because he's gonna get upset and want to leave. And you'll have to trade him because if you let him walk, then you lose him for nothing, and then you're back at square one with first overall picks because everybody's bad. And they don't really have many of their own picks, I don't think. They have a bunch of Lakers picks.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, New Orleans has historically not been a good place for sports.
Yeah, but especially
I
in
mean, no one,
recent
yeah,
basketball history, it's been terrible.
like really, no one wants. It's like it's not a big market. No one really wants to go there.
Right.
It's just
Now, I will say on that ticket, it's like if you can keep Zion happy, then you can get guys to come and play with him that will want to play alongside Zion to help him win because like
I
that
I definitely
that happens
think
all the time.
I definitely think Zion wants to stay there because like when he got drafted, he said that he wants to win a chip with them.
Well, there's that, but also you got to think guys pretty much are forced into saying that kind of stuff to an extent.
Yeah, to get to.
Like you can't just
please
say
everybody.
you can't get drafted to a team and be like, okay, yeah, I'll play here, but if we don't win, I'm leaving. You can't say that because that automatically puts the wrong image in your team's head, and you might end up getting traded just because you said that.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
But it's just that's just a lot of media like dealing with like he has to say that. Now obviously if
Yeah.
he can do it, great, but it's not looking the best.
They're a long way for them. Even making the playoffs, I think they're a decent way for them. So
Right. Now,
I
especially
think
in the
they'll be,
West
like-
this year. The West is
Yeah.
insane.
they'll probably be like number 14 or 15. Like if I'm not even kidding.
It definitely wouldn't surprise me in the least. Especially,
I
you
think-
got the Lakers with Westbrook coming in. Then you've got a healthy Warriors team. You've got a healthy Nuggets team. When's Jamal Murray supposed to get back? Is he going to come back this coming season?
He probably will come back like later on towards the playoffs.
I was going to say closer to All-Star break playoff time, yeah. But he's going to be rusty either way, but it's going to be, on paper it's a healthy Nuggets team. They're going to have the Jazz they just signed the Nuggets got actually it's one of the things I have written down. The Nuggets got Jeff Green from the Nets. He signed a 2-year deal with the Nuggets, which for the Nets is a loss defensively, but I mean it's not like a huge because they have KD, Kyrie, and Harden, so it's not a huge loss, but it's still one of their better role players is gone.
Yeah, that's something that I feel like Brooklyn is too emphasized on star power.
Right. Well,
And I
that's the
feel like-
LeBron James theory, LeBron always says you can have 2-3 stars on a team with, semi-okay depth and be just fine because the star power will overshadow and it will kind of blind you from like the bad. Like cuz whenever they won in 2020, it was LeBron, AD and Kuzma was the third best player or KCP or whoever. It was you had to get in order to win, you had to get an outstanding game from one of your subpar role players.
And that's another thing about that place that I was talking about. We were just talking about with New Orleans. Like, I know everybody on that team knows KD's the man,
Right.
but you're telling me that doesn't bite Kyrie and it doesn't bite Harden.
Well,
They're not the guy.
I would say it bites Harden more than Kyrie just because Kyrie's played with LeBron, and really,
Yeah, 'cause he's never really been the leading option on any team.
no, and he was that time in the Celtics, but that year or two is when Tatum started to blossom. So really,
Yeah.
he knew he was out of there because I mean, there was just a lot of toxic locker room stuff going on there, and it wasn't really because that was his first time leading his own team, so he didn't really know how to take it. So now he's like, okay, let's go to the Nets, lead the team for a year, but barely even play, and then have Kevin Durant, James Harden come in because Kyrie, I would say technically is the third option on that team. So
Yeah,
he's not
for
really
sure.
doing much leading of the team, and especially he
Is
can whenever
is
they both sit. But
is James Harden technically the point guard when healthy
yes,
on that team?
they
Okay.
they've made it clear that Harden's the point guard, Kyrie's the shooting guard. Then you've got like Joe
Yeah, 'cause
Harris, Durant, and then probably Blake Griffin at small ball center. That's what they've been doing. They've been running him
yeah.
at center, which I think is good, especially because he's adjusted his role because he's like a 10-point per game scorer, but he'll get 2-3 steals and get rebounds.
He's a good
for him.
rebounder.
Yeah, he's a good rebounder. He's still got his vertical, not necessarily as much on the offensive end trying to use it, but he still is a contributor, which is good because I was
Yeah.
afraid he was about to be out of the league before long.
Yeah. And and DeAndre's still there, right? He's just hurt.
Yeah, he's been hurt, and they've benched him too because a little mix of injuries, I think, and then they don't really have a need for a big man who can't shoot, especially with that
Yeah.
team because their whole philosophy is outscore the other team. At least it seems that way.
Yeah.
You're not gonna
Yeah,
go out
because
there
like
trying to play big defense.
yeah, they're a very bad defensive team.
Yeah, which is
Like
why it's bad that they gave up Jared Allen, who just signed a 5-year,
Yeah.
$100 million deal with the Cavs.
Cleveland.
I think that's a great pickup for them, though, honestly, because he can be
Yeah.
franchise cornerstone center type, especially if he learns how to shoot. Oh,
and Cleveland's another place that's just weird too because their best player is Colin Sexton.
yeah.
Right?
I don't
And,
see him staying. Colin Sexton, Darius
Yeah.
Garland are the best two.
Is but is Colin, even if you can keep Colin Sexton, is he good enough to be the man on any team?
I feel like he is the kind of guy. He reminds me a lot of he'll be a guard that could I bet you he'll end up being a 6-man and being like
Yeah.
an Andre Iguodala, Sean Livingston type where he's a good solid 6-man that's like a journeyman. Once he gets traded from the Cavs or leaves the Cavs, I bet it's only a matter of time before he hops stays 2 years, leaves, stays a year, leaves, and just goes all around the league.
Yeah.
I feel like he's gonna be one of those guys. Like I could really see him, backing up, say, De'Aaron Fox in Sacramento.
Yeah.
They could do a Buddy
Dude,
Hield
and
deal.
that's another weird place, man.
Sacramento,
Like,
dude. I'm telling you, there's so many weird places.
Yeah.
But
And another weird place is Charlotte, man.
Let me tell you about Charlotte. I just
Yeah,
saw some.
That's
really,
what I got written down.
dude. I'm really freaking excited. See, I was really hoping that Lonzo, because there was a rumor that it was Devontae Graham and Lonzo Ball would do like a double sign and trade. So they would sign and trade Devontae Graham, and they would sign and trade
Ooh,
Lonzo.
man.
Get Lonzo on Charlotte with
man.
Lonzo and LaMelo, and then you see they just announced that today LiAngelo made the Charlotte Summer League roster.
Yeah.
So you
I
would
seen
get
that.
the Ball brothers all in the set because with LaMelo and Lonzo, if they're on the actual starting lineup roster, it's only a matter of time before LiAngelo's at least in the 14-man roster that goes to games and dresses out every day.
Oh man.
That's only
And yeah,
so if that would have happened, it would have
That'd
been
be
over.
the
I think
craziest story, man.
that would be the best story. LeVar would be right. The media would go insane, and I think it would be a matter of time before Charlotte took over the league because those guys have so much chemistry and so much talent together. Like offensively and even defensively, like they're scrappy, they're fast. They would have the quickest team and like the least. Like I think it's like the fastest pace in the league for sure. I guarantee you that would
it's a
happen.
very young team.
Oh yeah.
Like Gordon Hayward's got to be the oldest guy on there.
I think Gordon
Like,
Hayward is just now like 30 or 31.
Yeah, like,
maybe
that's
even
a
29.
That's prime age.
Right. And
So,
he's not even the first option. LaMelo's the first option. You got
LaMelo's
LaMelo.
crazy.
Dude, I'm
You
telling
could
you,
play him at shooting guard.
that's the beauty of it because you've got Lonzo who's 6'7" or 6'6", LaMelo 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". LiAngelo's like 6'5". So you get LiAngelo playing the 2, Lonzo running point and LaMelo at the small forward, or probably Lonzo at the small forward for defense. And then you have, PJ, and then they just got Plumlee, I think it was. They got Mason Plumlee from the Pistons in some deal. I don't even remember what happened, but they got Plumlee, and they also have Zeller, I think, backing up still. So and Gordon Hayward, like come on, Gordon Hayward's still there. LiAngelo wouldn't start, but you have Gordon Hayward at the 3. But that would be a nasty team, especially out east.
Oh yeah,
Phew, man.
nasty. And Lonzo's a great defensive player.
Oh, Lonzo, what's he like 3 steals per game, 2.5 steals per game kind of guy? Like he's kind of crazy against guards too, and he's got size, which is great to his advantage. You've got the size.
Yeah, and like you said, you can put him at small forward because, like,
Oh yeah,
really, like, let's be honest, in the NBA,
it's
on
positionless.
offense, the first three positions are positionless: point guard, shooting guard,
Honestly,
and
you
small
could you
forward.
could even argue for the first four positions as long as you're
Yeah,
like because they've got like the one name comes to mind, PJ Tucker. In his career he's played center, he's played power forward, he's played everything but point guard. He's played all of
yeah,
them but point guard, just because of
yeah,
his skill set. Because if you've got the skill set and a build, like Lonzo could play 1 through 3 easy, because
yeah,
he's strong and he's quick and he's got good defensive IQ. So he could guard 1 through 3 and maybe even 1 through 4 if you get the right matchup.
yeah.
If you get
Because
if you
like
get a stretch four, he could guard him.
in the NBA, whoever brings the ball down the floor, that plays the point guard.
Right. Like
That's why
we get
LeBron's been called the point guard hundreds of
exactly.
times.
Which LeBron at this point in his career, I would say, like even in 2K, he's like a point guard slash small forward or something.
Yeah, one
So
of those weird hybrids.
yeah,
And
but
even Giannis,
shoot.
he'll take the ball down the floor and just
Oh yeah,
go as hard as he can
oh
towards
yeah.
the basket.
And like I said earlier, even Zion's been taking the ball. He's been dribbling the
Hmm.
ball a lot, which is why
Yeah,
Lonzo has been more of a spot up shooter instead of the playmaker, which is clearly kind of detrimental to their success. But I mean, he's a good shooter, but he's better in his role as a playmaker.
yeah.
But
Well, Charlotte, man.
dude, Charlotte's crazy. I really wish that Lonzo would have signed there, but he got his bag in Chicago for sure, and I think it's gonna be really, really
What is it,
exciting.
90 mil? Is that what it is?
4 year, 85 million. So that's
Jeez, man.
like 20 plus million a year. So he's definitely getting his bag, and he just came off of his rookie deal, which was like he was a second pick, so it was like 8 million or something, 6 or 8 million per year.
He's
It's like
getting
it's like
paid,
a
man.
2+1 or something, which is kind of
And
wild.
Chicago's a fun city, man. A lot
Dude.
of people like Chicago.
Chicago's going to be. I'm excited for that backcourt, and I would actually put money. I would be willing to put money that we get Alonzo Ball All-Star appearance this year,
Yeah, I could see it.
because we got LaMelo last year in the Rising Stars game. I could see both Lonzo and LaMelo being All-Stars this coming season, especially
man.
because it's at this point it's mostly popularity. So Lonzo in a new town, he's going to be like second option behind Zach LaVine. Like I bet Lonzo's a 15+ point per game scorer this year.
Yeah, and that is his role. Like
Right.
second option.
Second
go to the
option,
best scorer.
He'll be the fast break guy. He'll be passing. He'll be a 15 and 10 guard with 2 steals a game, and he'll be an all-star. I would
Yeah.
bet money.
I can say that.
And I would even go as far as to say most improved player. But there's a lot of
Yeah.
guys on that list. So
And he'll get lots of votes from Chicago, man, because they
Dude.
love their hometown.
Right, and
That's
they're
the
a
third
great
biggest city in the United States.
exactly,
They'll
they're
just
they're a
vote.
great basketball city. They love their team.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get a
Like, that's-
ton of love in Chicago.
That's why we know Zach LaVine so much. Like if Zach LaVine was in the Timberwolves, like we would never ever hear of him.
Dude.
So
he would be the guy that dunks all the time. Which is another thing. I
Yeah.
saw something the other day that said it was a question. It was like, is Zach LaVine the best in-game dunker of all time? I
He's
can
up there,
see
man.
that he's up there with like Vince Carter and those guys. Like in
Blake
game,
Griffin, man.
Blake
It was
Griffin.
prime.
True.
Blake Griffin was crazy.
Yeah, but I think honestly,
he's
Zach
bigger,
LaVine
so.
Zach LaVine. I think is better overall dunker wise. Like in game, dude. I saw a dunk reel of him in Team USA just recently. This dude was like catching misses off the back iron and was just like slamming them over people. Like these things that you do on like a 6-7 foot rim, he was doing over actual defense. Like this dude is insane. And so
And he had
imagine
a good 3 ball.
exactly, he tied the 3-point record, 14 threes in a game. Like that's insane. And Lonzo's
he's a great
up
player.
to Lonzo's going to be shooting 30+% 3. So you got 2 shooters. That's going to be nice. That's going to
yeah.
be such a nice
And,
backcourt. Oh.
and Lonzo's a good defensive player along with Patrick Williams.
Right.
So
and
like
so Lonzo's defense, I mean, I'm not really sure how Zach LaVine is as a defender, but probably
he's okay.
he's not a negative. He's just kind of there. But Lonzo's defense, Lonzo's going to be guarding their best guard, the other team's best guard. So Zach LaVine will be kind of his defense will kind of be hidden by Lonzo's defense. Lonzo's defense is going to help a lot.
Really, there's only like a handful, like 3 point guards that are really true offensive beasts.
True. Steph Curry, easy.
Steph Curry, Damian Lillard.
I'd say
that
say
might be it, man.
I'd say Chris Paul's an offensive beast purely because of that mid range. His mid range is unstoppable.
I can see that.
And Russell Westbrook is obviously an offensive beast because
Yeah.
Mr. Triple Double,
Yeah.
the record. But
So they're
that's
gonna have
offensive crazy.
Patrick Williams guarding See, he's young. He'll struggle guarding the small forwards of this era.
But isn't he a
But
power
Daniel-
forward technically?
On this depth chart, it has him as a small forward. He'll probably go hand in hand.
Yeah,
Because
he
Daniel
doesn't
Tice is
interchangeable.
there now.
Yeah, that's true.
Because
He's a big-
great
he's-
shot blocker.
That's true. He's a really good defender. I watched him with the Celtics because he was always that. He was their center. He was their starting center for a time. So
Yeah.
he was like the six. He was 6'9", 6'10". Like he's a short.
Something like that.
He's short for a center, and he's actually a power forward. But I think it's gonna be a really good role for him. And if they can just get their bench lineup, because I saw something. I mean, obviously it's not real now because Derrick Rose re-signed with the Knicks. But there was a thing that they wanted to get both D Rose
Wolves?
and Lonzo. They wanted to get both of them.
Oh, and I'm sure, and Derrick Rose, that's his hometown. I'm sure he would love to go back.
He would. But also, he had talked a lot about going back to the Knicks, and he has re-signed with the Knicks. I think it's like a 2-year deal. But the Knicks also brought back Nerlens Noel and Alec Burks on like $30 million deals, like 3 year, $30 million or something. But Noel's
That
a
might be
great.
too much, man.
That's their supporting cast. I mean, that's great deals because Noel was like second or third in block shots this year, or something.
Dude, I know someone who's getting paid maybe a little too much, but we'll talk about that later when
Alec
we get
Burks.
to it.
Alec Burks is
No.
getting. I mean, for his role, I think he's getting paid just fine, especially because they could run it back and be like a 4 or 5 seed, maybe if Julius Randle decides to play basketball. But
I'm talking Duncan Robinson, man. That is a
dude.
lot of money.
But you
bro.
got to think though, that he's a valuable player.
Yeah, he
He's
is.
a shooter.
A great player.
He's a great shooter. Like 5 years, $90 million. I feel like it's honestly a steal because that's under $20 million a year on that team where you have like 2.5 guys signed a max. You have Jimmy that just signed a max extension. You have Bam that signed his max deal. It's like the deal that comes after the rookie. Like whenever Jason Tatum, Donovan Mitchell, all those guys signed their max extensions, their rookie max extensions or whatever. Bam was on that list and signed a max extension, so he's also on a max contract.
Are we about to talk about the Heat, man?
Dude, I got some Heat stuff for you, brother. The Heat
right,
are
let's
looking.
talk
The
about
Heat
them.
are looking nice. So the Heat just signed Kyle Lowry it was a sign and trade with the Raptors. The Raptors got Goran Dragic and Precious Achiuwa, which I think is all right. It's a decent haul for them, especially because they're going younger. Dragic is going to be veteran leadership, and Achiuwa is going to be potentially a starter for that team, I would say, because he got minutes on a playoff
Achiuwa,
Heat team.
He's a great player. Like for how young he is, he's a great player.
I haven't seen much of him, but I have seen that he's a solid defender and he's a forward. So I mean, that's a valuable position in itself. So, but
yeah, man, so
it's gonna be
for
good.
those listening, like, I'm a Lakers fan, but I love
You love
the
you some
modern
Jimmy
day
Butler,
Miami
man.
Heat.
Dude,
Yeah,
the
like
Miami-
I love the grit and grind of that team.
See,
and Kyle Lowry only adds to that.
Dude, I'm saying, bro, I love
is
the
a-
culture. I love their culture.
Yeah,
I will say.
because Kyle Lowry, he'll freaking take a charge. He'll do whatever. He will
Dude.
play some dirty ball.
If you take a
win a
charge,
basketball
if you're
game.
an NBA player and you take a charge, I automatically have so much respect for you. It's not even funny. Like literally,
Yeah,
I remember it was the finals. I think he took like 4 charges in the closeout game of the series. Like he took like 4
and
charges that
He
game.
did it in the All-Star game. It was so
Dude,
funny.
that was
He is-
awesome. I remember that. That was so funny.
And he smiled, looked at the camera. It was so funny.
But, like,
I love Kyle Lowry.
You got Kyle Lowry. Duncan Robinson's probably gonna start at the 2. If they're paying him that much, he's gonna start. You got Jimmy Butler.
Finally, because he's been trying to start for 3
Yes,
years.
I think they're gonna have to take Tyler Hero off the bench,
Yeah.
or even they could put him at the 2, Duncan at the 3, Jimmy at the 4,
Because-
and Bam at the 5.
Well, Duncan, he fits perfectly at the shooting guard because
I think so,
he is like the definition like shooting guard in my eyes. When it comes like, okay, well, I mean, obviously George and Kobe, but when it comes to the not being the man shooting guard,
You're
he
talking-
is the perfect shooting.
You're
Like Klay
talking
Thompson.
Klay Thompson, Joe
Yeah.
Harris type.
Yep. Like he is. I'm gonna stand on the wing, point guard. You go drive in and then pass it to me, and I'm gonna shoot it. That is
Exactly.
he is perfect.
Exactly.
For that.
Because this dude on the catch and shoot, this guy's got such a good smooth rhythm. Like he'll shoot 40% just standing in the corner, and he'll shoot 15 threes a game. He'll shoot 15 because that's his role. He's a shooter. He's going to shoot that many shots, and he's not going to take anything inside the arc because he's never going to get there.
Yep, he is the second coming of Klay Thompson.
Dude,
So,
I think Klay Thompson. He's Klay Thompson to me. He's Klay Thompson minus the defense because his defense still it needs work.
And he's a little bit slower.
He's a little bit slower. But, man,
And
this dude's shot stroke is
yeah.
nice.
If you people don't know the Duncan Robinson story, that man played Division III basketball.
Bro, and he
is a starter in the NBA now.
It's funny to me because literally yesterday I was sitting in here and I was watching it was the Ringer podcast. It was a JJ Redick podcast, and he was talking to Duncan Robinson. And to hear that man's like perspective and his insight is kind of crazy, and where he came from. He was like a 26-year-old rookie, 25-year-old rookie. Him and Kendrick Nunn were like 24, 25-year-old rookies. Like
And
they played. This dude went
Humble.
like 5
He's
years
humble.
in high school. Oh, he's so humble. He's crazy. So that means he could have probably gotten more money. I feel like he could have gotten more money. But he's like, dog, I'm trying to win here. So, especially, with Jimmy Butler, he just signed the max. They got Kyle Lowry. They were probably like, okay, you got to take a little less money. And one thing one thing I really like about this year's free agency class, there's a lot of 5-year deals. 4 or 5-year deals. You're getting a lot of long-term contracts that are like 20 million a year, like 10, anywhere from like 10 to 20 million a year. You're getting a lot of those longer deals. I think it's great because that keeps like the trade market open a little bit, because these are really tradable contracts. And then you also have like guys aren't going to be leaving after 2 years. They're going to stay 3+, and then the teams are going to develop. And I feel like the next 4 or 5 years in the league is going to be really good quality basketball, because all these guys are going to stay with their teams and they're going to develop and they're going to learn how to gel together.
Yeah, and like Miami, from what I hear, a lot of NBA players love Miami and the city, and it's one of the most popular hotspots for players to go.
Right. It's either LA, New York, or Miami, really. Those are the three biggest markets. And people want to play there. They love the weather. And the culture now is insane. So I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if after, Lowry and Jimmy are done there, once Bam takes over, I wouldn't be surprised if they got, an all-star guard to sign there in free agency. I could see, like I said, like I was talking about earlier, or like the guy mentioned earlier, De'Aaron Fox. This dude could leave Sacramento. He could go play for the Heat once Jimmy and Lowry are gone, because they're gonna get older and they're gonna regress. So I could see some guy kind of like that, really coming to his own with the Heat culture.
So Goran, you said he went to Toronto?
Yeah. The deal was, it was a Lowry. It was a sign and trade. So they signed Lowry, traded for Dragic, and they signed for Goran Dragic and Precious Achiuwa. It was just those two. There wasn't any picks or anything, I don't think.
Dang. I'm going to miss Goran because he's low-key a Heat legend, man.
He is. He's been there forever.
Ever since the LeBron and D-Wade era ended, he has been their point guard. So that's pretty sad.
Yeah, but he played for, what did he play? He played for Phoenix and a bunch of that business. He was on Phoenix for a while. I think it might have just been the Phoenix Suns, if I remember correctly. Was it just the Suns, or was it another team away?
I think it was just the Suns and then the Heat.
Yeah. But I remember, man, he's been there for a minute. He's been there for a hot minute.
He was the Heat for the year in between D-Wade and Jimmy.
Yes,
he was even an all-star.
He was. I remember that. That was crazy. But I feel like once he's in Toronto, he's going to take that veteran leadership role. He's going to take that leadership role, and I would even say
he'll be Kyle Lowry.
Yeah, he won't be Kyle Lowry, no, but he'll be in that sort of leadership role for the young guards like Van Vliet and those other guys. But I think he's going to start regressing to where, he's going to play on that team. I think he retires a Raptor. Either he retires a Raptor or goes like a new team every year until he retires.
Yeah, stop skipping around.
Yeah, he'll be definitely a journeyman the last few years of his career. But talking about the Suns,
Garrett,
what's that?
If that's true, we just seen Trevor Ariza leave the Heat, though.
That's true. But I think
that's going to be interesting.
He was on a minimum deal anyway. Oh, wait, never mind. I saw Los Angeles and I got freaked out, but they just said free agent Nicholas Batum has agreed to a 2-year deal to return to Los Angeles Clippers. I saw something that was like that Batum could go to the Warriors, but that didn't work out. Also, I just got a Woj bomb. Not really a Woj bomb, it's not that huge, but Alex Caruso is no longer a Laker. Guess where he signed?
The Heat.
No, he signed in Chicago. 4 years, $37 million. He's going to back up Lonzo, bro. Are you kidding me?
Bro, that's Slam City.
Dude.
That's 3 good dunkers.
Bro, Caruso got his bag too, man. And also, Evan Fournier 4-year, $78 million to the Knicks. Wow. That's
What
crazy,
the heck,
bro.
man?
There's so many, dude. I'm just
So
sitting here refreshing, and it's like Woj bomb after Woj bomb, dude. That's so nuts.
Yeah, he's definitely 7th or 8th. They're definitely gonna be 7th or 8th seed.
The Bulls, I agree. And Caruso is a mean defender. He's an underrated defensive presence. He is going to be nice on defense for Chicago because they're going to have good defensive guards. And I think Zach LaVine, once Lonzo and Caruso come in, he's going to kind of see their defensive work ethic and be like, I'm going to play defense now. Because he could be a shot blocker. Zach LaVine could be a heck of a shot. Because, Ben Simmons is a guy, leads the league in blocking 3-point shots, I think. It's like he blocks the most 3-point shots in the league. I could see Zach LaVine being a guy kind of like that on the perimeter where he would, get his timing right and just jump and just block the shot out of the air, Yeah. He could really be in that role if he really put it to him because he could do it. He can do just about anything.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Really?
But speaking of Ben Simmons, we got to talk about Ben Simmons.
Oh, man.
I know you really wanted to get into this one. This is one you really want to get into. Ben Simmons. The 76ers are saying they want a package like what Boston got for Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, which was a lot as far as I remember. I never followed the NBA at that point, but I know they got a ton as far as picks specifically for that. Boston got picks that turned into Tatum and Brown as far as I know. So they got good picks.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Are the Sixers tripping? I think they're tripping.
Yeah, definitely. I think Ben Simmons has got to go. I don't know where he's gonna go. I really have no clue. I've heard the Spurs. I've heard so many places, but
oh man. See, I had a thought,
but I think what's that?
Well, go ahead and finish because you had a thought. You were saying you were in the middle of something. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, I was gonna say that I think Philly is going to decline because we have seen Ben Simmons, who is if he's not leaving, there's a problem because that's going to be the most toxic locker room ever because literally no one in the organization wants him there. The head coach, Doc Rivers, don't even want him there.
Wow.
That's going to be toxic. Dwight Howard just left. And so that's
I forgot about that already. And if they get Danny Green to the Lakers, if Danny Green goes to the Lakers, he's gone too. That's another shooter around Ben Simmons.
There goes their depth. It'll just be Tobias Harris and Joel Embiid, and they'll be 8th seed Sixers like they've been before. So
man, see, I have a thought that I could really see the Sixers because they're asking so much for Ben Simmons. I don't think they understand how low his trade value actually is because they're trying to get 3 or 4 first-round picks and young players, and I just don't see that happening unless you're crazy. His value's so low, and obviously his upside is insane. He's got such potential still. He's 24, 25. I could see him going to the Knicks even, because they just re-signed their... Actually, they had a bunch of cap space, but they just re-signed all their guys, so they may not have any anymore. But, I could see them getting stuck with him. Nobody would want to match an offer, or nobody would want to give up anything, because they're asking so much. I could see the Sixers getting stuck. And I could see him sitting out, like what Anthony Davis did in New Orleans that last year. I could see him sitting out and demanding a trade because it's going to get toxic.
Rough, man. Yeah.
Because he's going to demand a trade, so that means they're going to get lowballed because nobody's going to pay 4 first-round picks for Ben Simmons, at least in this stage of his career. Because he doesn't have a shot. He doesn't have a jump shot. He's been inconsistent. He's a great defender, obviously, Defensive Player of the Year caliber player. But you're not giving up. If you're a GM, you're not giving up 3 and 4 first-round picks for Ben Simmons, plus your young talent. The Warriors, they offered the Warriors. They wanted Wiseman, Wiggins, and 2 firsts, 3 firsts. No way you're giving that up for Ben Simmons. Just Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
There's absolutely no way that happens. So I think they get stuck with him, and my prediction is they get stuck with him, and they trade him, but they have to take less. So they are in a sticky spot to where they don't have as many assets as they could have. So they're going to have to end up, trading Tobias or something. And then Embiid's going to be upset because he doesn't have any help. So I think it's going to crumble. I think,
Yeah,
like you said, it's going to
definitely.
be toxic and it's going to end up crumbling really, really bad.
And like, I hate to downgrade any player, but Ben Simmons, I think people always say that he's insecure because people rip on him all the time about
Right.
not being able to do this, not being
Right.
able to shoot a three.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's true. I mean, it might be that case and it might just be on his head, but it's the NBA. It doesn't matter. Like,
Right.
we're trying to win basketball games. We're not trying to, be your best friend. And
I
that's the
100%
harsh
agree.
matter of it. That's the harsh fact of how the business works. But like, I'm not a Philadelphia fan. I actually hate almost all Philadelphia sports. But if I was Philadelphia, I would be getting rid of Ben Simmons and trying my darn hardest to keep what I have left in
Right.
Philadelphia.
Because I feel like, if they handle the Ben Simmons situation poorly, that's going to reflect on Tobias, on Joel. Like, it's going to get bad, I feel. And like you were saying, shoot, I forgot. I was going to say something, but I completely lost it. But there,
Ben Simmons, he plays the point guard most of the time actually,
Right.
and like they don't need him to. Like Seth Curry is a
Right.
decent, above average point guard.
I think honestly, I think Simmons is best at point guard. That's his bread and butter. And I remember what I was going to say. You said it's all of his shooting, all of his troubles with shooting. Because you've seen the clips of him in practice. This man shoots
Yeah,
like
just dominate.
he dominates a three. He can shoot. He can shoot. He is fully capable of shooting. It's just in his head, and he's so insecure about he's so concerned with what people think and what people say that he's not
Yeah.
focused on his game. He is focused on not looking bad, which in turn,
Yeah.
makes him pass up open layups to win a series in the playoffs, and
True.
it makes him pass up shots because he's scared. And to me, if I'm a team, I don't want that on my team.
No.
Which is another reason why nobody's going to pay for 4 first-round picks for the guy. You're
You
never
gotta
going to
look
get that.
You got to look at every player like they're a rookie, and you're just trying to figure out what they can do. And if you
Exactly.
see that in a rookie, you're not gonna want him. You're gonna
no.
look at someone else.
Oh no! I bet if you redraft at the current state of that 27 or 2016 class, at the current state of that class, I bet you don't take Simmons number 1. You probably take Jaylen Brown number 1. You take Simmons. You probably take Simmons top 10 still, but given his confidence issues, I would never take him number 1 overall again.
Yeah,
Because his confidence is so shot. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really understand why it got that bad, other than the fact that people are like, "Oh, you can't shoot." If they say you can't shoot, go learn how to shoot. Get better at shooting. He needs to work with his form because it's all kinds of whack anyway. But that's besides the point.
It's crazy what the NBA was like. Just 4 years then, Ben Simmons was treated like he was the second coming of Magic Johnson.
He was supposed to be, and he had the talent.
Yeah.
And in summer league, this man made like 5 threes a game, or something. Maybe not that many, but he made threes in summer league, and he's made threes in actual NBA games. Like he's shot, and honestly, when they go in, it doesn't look terrible. If he can, his confidence is so low. Like if he goes, what he needs to do, shoot, New Orleans ought to try and get him. They could put together a package.
That'd be definitely something.
That'd be a good, because just like Lonzo played in a big market. His confidence was a little shaken because behind LeBron. I mean, you can't really move him to a smaller market team, and he flourishes and he gets better, and you can really figure out how he is as a player. Same with Ben Simmons. If he leaves Philly, he could go to a small market team like San Antonio or New Orleans, kind of figure himself out, work out his shooting. And New Orleans has that shooting coach that fixed Lonzo's shot, made him to an elite 3-point shooter. So he does that with Simmons, and boom. So New Orleans could potentially give up one of their smaller, one of their younger draft picks or guards. They've got some Lakers picks, and those Lakers picks aren't going to be much anymore, but still, they could package something for Ben Simmons. I feel like, especially next to Zion, to be an elite presence, physically wise.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be dope with Ben Simmons next to Zion.
Yeah,
Just-
that'd be different.
Then that would allow Simmons to stick in the point guard position. And on that team, there's low expectations to actually win. There's a lot less expectations than there is in Philly.
No one's really gonna care.
Right, no one cares if you shoot 0 for 10 on 3-pointers in a game. You're just trying to figure it out there. Obviously Zion is trying to win, and they're trying to win with Zion, and they're trying to keep him there and happy, but if you can get Simmons to reach his potential, you're going to win games because he's an elite player. He's an all-star. At his best, he's top 15 in the league. At best. I would think, at least. At his very best. If he's playing elite defense, averaging 20 points a game, if he's getting 3 steals, 3 blocks a game, averaging 20 points, 8 assists, who doesn't want that? And that's his upside. So I wouldn't trade 4 first-round picks, like I said, but if I was New Orleans or somebody like that, I would go for it. Because what do you have to lose? I mean, you're not a playoff team anyway. You only can get better.
They lost what they had. It's just Zion and Brandon.
Right. And I think adding Simmons to that would be good. Because then he would be able to set up both of those guys to allow them both to kind of shine together as opposed to being conflicting.
That's true.
So,
dude, I got something for you.
What you got?
Kawhi Leonard.
He just re-signed, didn't he, with the Clippers?
I think he declined the option.
I think he declined the player option, but I'm pretty sure that he's going to re-sign. I don't think that's any question. I don't know if
I've heard
it's come out yet, though.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So I've heard people been saying just nonsense, like he's gonna go to Miami.
No, there's no way he goes to Miami.
This is what people need to understand is that Kawhi Leonard, when he was on the Spurs, he said to Greg Pop that he wants to go home. He wanted Greg Pop to ship him to LA, to Los Angeles Lakers, so he could be in his hometown. And that was when the Lakers was just that was before LeBron was there. That was Alonzo. And Greg said no because he didn't want to, play him in the same division. So they sent him to Toronto. Kawhi stayed there for 1 year, and then he wanted to go back home. And he finally came to the Clippers. So we can see how hard it was for him to get to Los Angeles. So do people really think that after being there for only 2 years, he wants to go to the opposite side of the country? We got to realize that NBA players are people too.
Right.
And
and Kawhi's going to get he's going to get a max deal no matter where he goes.
Yeah, because the Clippers have literally nothing now. So if they lose Kawhi Leonard, they're going to be the franchise in the league for the next 10 years.
Right. There's really no recovering. They would just have to accumulate their own draft picks. They would be able to. There's nothing they can do.
So they're dead set on Kawhi. They lost everything to get Kawhi Leonard and Paul George.
Yeah, they even said that off rip whenever they signed Kawhi and they traded for Paul George. That was their thing. We're going all in to win, which in a way you feel bad for them because they went all in. But they're all in a stacked Western Conference with the Lakers, with the Warriors, etc. With the Nuggets and the Jazz. They're not they're those people that I always think of those kind of teams as they're the 4 and 5 seed every year. They're gonna bring you to 6 or 7 games in a second round series, and they could upset you.
Yeah.
They're not gonna win a championship, but they could upset a good team and change the whole dynamic of the playoffs. Just like Phoenix did.
Here's something that I've always pondered upon the idea of, which is probably never going to happen, but I thought, this could always be interesting, is that the NBA, I don't know about some other leagues, but the NBA uses the West and East Conference thing where, there is a line that's almost right down the Mississippi River where, all teams on the west side go to the west besides Memphis, and all teams on the east go to the east.
Right.
And I feel like that creates a problem because in the state of California, for example, there are so many cities that create big teams.
There's 5 teams. They've got Lakers, Clippers, Warriors, Kings, one more. Can't remember. They've got Los Angeles, San Francisco, basically, Sacramento. I think there's one more. Out west. I'm trying to remember.
Well, I know in baseball they got 5 teams.
Yeah. I'm not even going to try and name those off.
So, and in the NBA, just look at how many of those teams are good. Besides the Kings, every single one of those teams are good.
And so those are all big markets, and everybody wants to go play there.
Yeah, so in the NFL, for example, every single team in California almost is good. Every single team in the MLB, besides like maybe one, is good. And that's why in the NFL and the MLB, they create a conference that is not set on
Geographics.
It is like they have the NFC where it has just like set picks. So you'll have in the NFC in the football, you'll have a team in Los Angeles and a team in New York that's in the same conference.
Oh, okay.
They're just randomized.
It's like
kinda.
it's the central, so it's you have your Western and you have your Eastern, and then you have your Central division, which is like
Yeah.
a mix of
So-
two teams.
So yeah, it makes it easier for, like the NBA is the only like league where you'll have one conference that just dominates.
Yeah.
MLB and the NFL, they split it up, so it is like, they're always going to have like if there's two good teams in California, for example, they might make the finals in two separate sides.
Right.
And I've always thought maybe the NBA should do that. but-
Lakers Clippers finals would be kind of dope.
Yeah, like that'd be crazy, but
Right.
we'll never get to see that because we go right off down the Mississippi, and everything east is in the east besides Memphis.
Right. Another thing to that though, you said because they're all in California, they're better because it's a free agent destination, it's a popular market.
Mm-hmm.
But you also got to think in the 80s, 90s, it was flipped. The East was the best conference.
Yeah.
You had
It's
the
weird.
Bulls, you had the Pistons. That was the conference you wanted to be in. You want to play for the East.
Yeah.
You got the Knicks, the Bulls,
Yeah,
etc.
New York.
Which New York is obviously a higher market, and Chicago then was even. I mean, it's not like a huge market, but it was Michael Jordan. Like you wanted to go play with Michael Jordan. You want to win championships.
Yeah.
So like
Yep.
it just the thing that is nice about the NBA is that the Western Conference is stacked, but in 10 years it's not going to be that way. I bet you we have a stacked East
again. Going
again.
to be gone.
Well, the good Western players, you'll have Luka, who may or may not leave the Mavericks. You have Trae Young plays out East. Jason Tatum plays out East. There's lots of good talent that it could potentially even up the league, but also it'll flip basically every generation, because
Yeah.
Michael Jordan was East, Kobe was West, LeBron predominantly was an Eastern Conference dominator.
Mm-hmm.
Heat, Cavs, East. So Zion, New Orleans, West. Say for example, if he's the next big LeBron, Kobe, MJ type, it just switches with each generation. I think.
Yeah,
Which is nice because you
you're
can
right.
kind of expect that kind of thing, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we gonna talk about the Lakers?
Yes. I like the Lakers, but I also just saw something. JaVale McGee signs a 1-year, $5 million deal with the Phoenix Suns.
Oh,
Man's gonna he's gonna be backing up DeAndre Ayton, which I think is nice. That's a good
man.
pickup. I think it's a great pickup.
That's
for them.
good.
Because my thinking is, you have DeAndre Ayton. This man was playing a lot of center minutes. Also, I just saw something that you're gonna be kind of sad about. We were just talking about the Bulls depth chart and how Daniel Tice is gonna be a good power forward. Well, he's gonna be a good power forward for the Houston Rockets because he just signed a 4-year, $36 million deal. So he's gonna go to the Rockets.
He's gonna go let his career die in Houston.
Basically, because Houston, I don't even know. But anyway, let's get back to the Lakers and that kind of thing, because we just saw a whole bunch of good signings there. They got Trevor Ariza. They got Russell Westbrook with a sign and trade. They got Dwight Howard came back. I think.
So let me refresh this page because it keeps changing.
I'm telling
I had their depth chart pulled up, but now it keeps changing.
We got to refresh and keep the updated takes. Free agent center.
So let's
Daniel
see
Tice
here.
Dang, that's crazy.
On ESPN.com, which is obviously this isn't going to stay true for the next few months, but it has their starting five as Russell Westbrook, very oddly Wesley Matthews, LBJ, Anthony Davis, and Drummond, and on the bench they got Schroeder, which
he's gone. I think he's gone.
he was pretty bad in the playoffs last year. They got THT, which I think is an excellent role player. Trevor Ariza, Mark Gasol, Dwight Howard. Oh my God, man, and Markieff Morris.
Shoot.
So that is
They're
deep team.
They're
with
deep again.
Excellent star power. Excellent star power.
That's the beauty. LeBron's plan is all coming into fruition, I think, is because like we were talking about earlier, his thing is you get superstars and you'll get guys to take pay cuts to come play with you for a champ. Because you don't go to the Lakers and expect to just be mediocre. You go to the Lakers, take a pay cut, and we're like winning a championship. I could still see Carmelo or maybe even DeMar going there.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Well, I heard that the Lakers apparently stopped pursuing DeMar.
I heard that as well because
they got Westbrook.
But I saw another thing. I don't know how true this is, but I saw another thing that DeMar, the teaming up of DeMar and Lowry is still, it's still on the table.
Hey.
So we could see DeMar DeRozan go to Miami and go back to playing shooting guard like he did in Toronto.
Oh, man.
Could you imagine that?
Oh, man.
It would be next level. Like, you'd have Lowry, DeMar, Jimmy, Bam, and, whatever. And then you have Duncan and Hero and all those guys. It would be nuts.
So let's talk about what we think and a general idea of what we think the standings are going to be next year.
Okay, so we're gonna start out west and then go to the east.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, out west, I'm gonna say number 1 seed. We're talking regular season. I bet it's either Utah or Denver, regular season. You know what? I'm gonna go Denver. I'm gonna go Denver as a number 1 seed, and it's gonna be like within 1 or 2 games. But they're gonna be with Nikola Jokic coming off of an MVP season. First of all, he's gonna be like a 99 in 2K or whatever, because they always make the MVPs juice in that game. But the Nuggets or the Jazz are my number 1 seed. Actually, no. I like the Nuggets for the number 1 seed because they just got some good free agent signings. Nuggets are going to be my number 1. What do you think?
Well, I'm going to have to agree that Utah will be number 1 because they are historically in the past 4 years always been an excellent regular season team.
Right. I can see that. I got Utah or Denver as number 1. And number 2, you got to go to the Lakers. The Lakers, they're the number 2 seed. Like, they're not going to go crazy in the regular season because they got a ton of veterans. So they're all going to need time to rest their bodies. So they're not going to go out for the number 1 seed. They're just going to win games. So I think Lakers could be a good number 2 seed. I'm going to take, honestly, I could take either Phoenix or Denver or Utah, whoever ends up not being the 1st seed. Phoenix or one of those guys as the 3rd seed.
Yeah, I got Phoenix as 3.
Phoenix is 3. And
then...
what's that?
Oh, you keep going.
Okay, so then the 4th seed, if my Warriors are healthy, I like my Warriors as the 4th seed.
Yeah.
Because here's my reasoning, because a lot of people don't have faith in the Warriors, and it drives me nuts. You've got a healthy Stephen Curry, basically. Klay's coming back. He may not be back until later, but you got to pay attention to the development that they have put in on Andrew Wiggins. He's a valuable asset for trade, but this dude is developed into an insane two-way player. With Draymond Green at his side, they're going to be a really good defensive tandem, and they're going to have James Wiseman coming back healthy, and he's spent all offseason learning and working out and spending time with Draymond. I like that Draymond has taken Wiseman under his wing, because Wiseman is going to turn into a great center because of Draymond, I think. So, and then you've got healthy Wiseman. Whatever they end up, I don't think they'll trade. There's all these talks about getting Bradley Beal and whatnot. I think the Wizards are doing a good enough job getting pieces around Beal that will convince him to stay, because he wants to be a lifer. Everybody does at a certain time. So they're going to convince him to stay. So the Warriors are going to have Curry, Klay, Wiggins, Draymond, Wiseman. Then they're going to have Jonathan Kuminga from the draft, plus Moses Moody. May not play that much, but Kuminga I feel like is going to play right off the bat because he had that year of G League experience. So he's automatically a step ahead. And they got him at 7, which I think is a steal because he was top 4 or 5 prospects. And then they got Looney, Jordan Poole, Eric Pascal, and then there's another one I'm forgetting. Nico Mannion. They're gonna have it kind of reminds me of the 2015 Warriors, just a little bit younger. Like they have a good depth, but it's instead of veteran depth, it's young, talented depth. So I can see them being a good 4th or 5th seed.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna have Denver at 5, and then the Warriors or Denver at 4, the Warriors at 5, and then I was gonna have the Clippers at 6 because the Clippers are still gonna be a great team. They're just quite gonna be out for probably at least All-Star break.
Yeah.
Probably more. He'd probably be out the whole season.
Yeah, and Paul George is going to have to do a little bit of carrying, I feel like. So I feel like that would lead to some sort of lack of success. Still playoff team, obviously, because they're the freaking Clippers, but it's still going to be a little tough for him.
And then I probably got either Portland or Dallas,
Yeah.
Whoever makes it, it's not going to really matter unless they get someone better.
Yeah, I think I actually saw something today. It's probably just a rumor with no traction whatsoever. I saw that Milwaukee is trying to make a deal and get Kristaps Porzingis from Dallas.
Who would they get rid of?
I have no idea. They'd have to give up picks
Giannis?
and not Giannis. But could you imagine? You could see. I don't know, because they've got Brook Lopez, they've got Giannis. Their bigs are set. You can't play Kristaps at the small forward because why? I don't know.
Yeah.
That was, again, that's just a meme page, more or less, rumor that I saw. But you brought up Portland on the 6th seed, or 7th or 8th or whatever. I saw on Instagram a clip of Stephen A. Smith was talking like just today or yesterday. If Damian Lillard gets out of Portland, his number 1 destination is the New York Knicks. Did you see that?
Interesting. Very interesting.
So if Dame requests a trade from Portland, he wants to go to the Knicks, which I don't know how many years he has left on his contract. I don't know how much leverage he has in that situation. But I feel like Dame to the Knicks could be good. Because that playoff push they had last year, they got Randall, Rose could play the 2 or come off the bench, and they just brought back their depth, essentially. So if you get Dame, then
we could see a 3-way trade between Chicago, New York, and Portland to send D Rose there. But that's that's something that doesn't ever happen.
Right.
So
and they also just re-signed him, and he's been talking basically all season about re-signing with the Knicks because they're a playoff. There was a 4th seed, and they lost, but Randall had a little hiccup. I think it might have been his first or second ever playoff series, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably is. I can't see him being on any other. Yeah. I guess it is.
So I don't really see it, especially now that New York brought back all their depth because they re-signed those guys. They won't have as much because they had a potential of $47 million in cap space to work with, which would have been enough to get Damian Lillard on a trade. But since they re-signed their guys, their cap space is a little bit more limited now. So it could still be possible if they could scramble together the assets. I think part of the thing is, though, they would do it, but they don't want to trade R.J. Barrett because R.J. Barrett would be in that trade for Damian Lillard. He would pretty much have to be.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that would actually happen, but it's been known that Damian Lillard would like to play for the Knicks if he were traded. So, all right. So the East, you said let's go. We did our standings. I'm talking about the East now. So number 1 seed, I could see it being Milwaukee.
Yeah,
because coming off the championship, you got a head full of steam. I think it's Milwaukee all day, every day.
Yep.
And then number 2.
And then I probably got. Oh man. Probably Brooklyn.
Yeah, I was gonna say Brooklyn would be a good number 2. Milwaukee beats them out by 1 or 2 games, I think, just because of their advantage on the defensive end, especially since Jeff Green is a Nugget now. I don't think Brooklyn has enough to stop the developed Milwaukee Bucks 3-point shooting squad. They've got good shooters, and especially if Giannis keeps working on his shot. Come on. So Milwaukee number 1, Brooklyn number 2. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Philly doesn't make the playoffs. Well, that's not that. I could see it.
I can see it.
I could see it, but also it's the East, and you have Joel Embiid and Tobias Harris. I mean, shoot. It depends on how the rest of the offseason goes because it could go bad pretty quick, I feel like.
Yeah.
And
Well, at 3 for me,
yeah.
I got Atlanta.
Atlanta, okay.
Because
I like that.
Miami, they don't like the regular season, man.
Oh no, they were in the championship as the 5th seed.
Yeah, like
So I could see Atlanta making a huge splash in the regular season. But say if Miami ends up as the 6th seed, I could see Miami sweeping the Hawks.
oh yeah, for sure.
You know, that seems perfectly realistic to me. If you get Miami at the 6th seed, you know, keeping it relaxed in the regular season and then just destroying. Because if you beat the 3rd seed, you know, you go on to play. I think it's the winner of 4-5 or something, or 7-2.
Yeah, 7-2.
Yeah, so you'd play Brooklyn. I would love to see Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, Bam Adebayo go up against KD, Kyrie, Harden. Do you know how scrappy that game would be? The Heat culture would come out in that game, and they would put KD, Kyrie, and Harden to shame. They may not win the series because just offensive superpower is insane, but it would be
being
insane.
Dead serious, man. I don't know who's winning the East.
I don't know either. It's crazy because if you can keep the Nets healthy, I really feel like there's realistically no way to stop them. Because you can't win a game if the opponent is scoring 160 points a game. Because there was just this year, like in the 15 or so games, KD, Kyrie, and Harden all played together. They combined for like 100 and something points. There was a game they all combined for like 120 or 110 or something. And if you have 3 guys doing that, you can't win. Like, there's no way to beat that.
Like, I genuinely just don't know.
Right. There's
'Cause,
obviously
like,
a lot
the
of good
Bucks-
guesses out there, though.
The Bucks, man, they're good. And the Heat, they're going to be good.
Right.
Like, I just don't know.
And-
like, I really don't.
Right. And there's still lots of things to be done, trades and signings to be made in the offseason because, like, it's the first 3 hours of free agency.
Oh, yeah.
So we're not even close to the end. And then you'll have trades. A lot of, like, once free agency ends, there'll be a lot more trades happening. So
yeah,
then,
like,
shoot.
I mean, in the West,
you got a
I
pretty
got
good
the
idea.
Lakers. I mean, I've said that for the past 4 years just because they're my team.
Yeah.
But, like, if I could pick a year out of any of the years where I was most confident this moment in time in free agency, this year I would pick the Lakers over any of those other years.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I mean, the bubble year, it was the bubble, and they had depth. I think this year's depth is better than that year's depth.
Yeah.
As of right now.
As of right now.
Because I think people forget how talented Trevor Ariza is scoring the ball.
Mm-hmm.
He's a good scorer, especially off your bench. And, you know, he could be one of those guys that plays 10 minutes a game, but in those 10 minutes gives you 6 points.
Yep.
You know, he could be one of those guys that comes in for a spark and then goes. And they lost Alex Caruso, which is tough. Honestly, that's tough for them. But that, you know, he was making $4 million or something whenever he played for them. He was making a nice little chunk of change. So if they get that off their book, I bet they could bring in another veteran guard.
Anthony.
What's that?
Carmelo
Anthony. Exactly. You know what you lose with Caruso, offensively and defensively, you get back with Carmelo, not as much on the defensive end, but
PJ Tucker signs 2-year, $15 million with the Heat.
You're joking. PJ Tucker?
Nope. Yep.
Oh. He just won a championship. Oh. Dude, he fits the Heat, though.
Dude, that's the power forward I was
talking
about. Like, they need a power forward.
Oh. He fits the Heat culture, too. This
and
man
he
is
the
nasty.
grind and grit culture. Oh, my God, dude.
Okay, so we're looking at a starting lineup of Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, unless they get DeRozan. Then it'll be Kyle Lowry, DeRozan, Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, Bam Adebayo. With Tyler Hero off the bench.
And Kendrick Nunn.
And potentially Duncan Robinson, all off the bench. Dude.
Where's Andre Iguodala at?
And you know what PJ Tucker is known for? You know what he's known for?
What's that?
Stopping Kevin Durant. He's known for stopping Kevin Durant.
Oh my god.
So you get him on Kevin Durant, you get Jimmy on James Harden, you get Lowry on Kyrie. Dude, that's a nice team, bro. That is a nice Heat team. Oh man, that just got interesting. And Tucker's fresh off a championship. Dude.
They're beating the Bucks, man.
Bro,
that's the deciding
that
factor.
Heat team, it might be Lakers Heat 2.0. It's my way too early prediction is Lakers Heat.
Yeah, way too early, but still, man.
That's so crazy.
And Jimmy Butler, I know everybody in our friend group hates when I ride Jimmy Butler.
Bro, but
he
it's
is
justified.
a dog, man.
Dude.
He is a dog, I swear.
Oh, man. But you
Last
gotta think,
year he got hurt.
Oh, dude. You
And he
gotta
had
think the
COVID
amount of
twice.
tampering that had to go into that, though, honestly. There's
Yeah,
so much
probably.
tampering. But, I mean, at this point, shoot. It's just interesting. It's good news. PJ Tucker to the Heat. That's the beauty of this,
crazy.
because we could just be sitting here talking, and all of a sudden, boom, there's a signing. 2-year, $15 million deal. Their closing five, NBA In-Depth posted, their closing five currently looks like Lowry, Robinson, Butler, Tucker, Adebayo. Dude, talk
Oh
about
my
closing
God.
games, clutch shooting, bro. Oh, no. That might be... We'll have to adjust our standings now. That might be
And bro, the
best.
funny thing is, best starting lineup.
That might be one of especially if they can swing a deal for DeRozan somehow, which I don't know how they have any money left, but if they can, shoot,
Bro, and the beauty of that team right now is that not a single player on there like feels like they have to be the man.
none of them, not a single one has an ego. Kyle Lowry was second to DeRozan, was second to Kawhi. Jimmy Butler's obviously the man. Like, of that team, Jimmy Butler's the man.
Yeah,
But
Jimmy Butler's the man, but he'll
do it with everybody else. He'll get in
yeah.
the mud with everybody else. Bam is...
we see that game where he had like 20, 10, and 10.
Yeah. See, there was that one
Like-
game that it was him. He had a triple-double. Duncan Robinson had a triple-double. One other guy Bam had a triple-double. And
Kendrick
Tyler Hero.
Tyler had like 30 points.
It was like 30, 30, 30, and then like 10, 10, 10, 11, 11. Like, it was insane. There was like 3 triple-doubles, and like Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn had a 30-point game. Like, you're going to have the most team-centric team. That team's going to the finals. I can't, like, it's because you know,
I think
in
Garrett,
2020, who thought the
it's
Heat
crazy
was
how
going?
much of a difference PJ Tucker can make, but
Honestly,
honestly,
I know. Besides you, but like realistically, in 2020,
dude, I had a calling.
that was crazy. I remember you called that. In like when we were just playing fantasy basketball at the beginning of the year, you were like, "Yeah, Heat's going to the finals." But the thing is, who thought in 2020 the Heat was going to the finals? Like maybe 1% of people thought they were going. What was the best team? What was
Not even that, man.
technically? Who was the best team on paper that year?
2020?
What?
Probably in the East, probably the Bucks.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be a Lakers-Bucks finals. But then it was Lakers
And the Celtics and the Raptors both was like everybody thought the Celtics, the Raptors, the Bucks, and the Sixers would beat out the Heat.
Yeah, but Jimmy Butler's a dog. And now they've got Kyle Lowry, who's a dog. They've got Bam Adebayo, who's a dog. PJ Tucker, who's a dog.
Tucker's a dog.
Bro, that's going to be...
And then you got Duncan, who's just a nice young fella.
Dude, you know what? It's going to be raps if the Heat somehow manage to sign like Patrick Beverly or something.
Oh my god, dude, that's like the grittiest team ever.
This is going to be like the 2016 Grizzlies, but in 2022. But better.
Oh my god, and better, yeah.
And much better. I think talent-wise, this team has them trumped like in every category. Maybe besides rebounding.
Man.
But, dude, just one little tiny signing just made holy crap. Just changed the entire climate of the
we
Eastern
can't get our
Conference.
hopes up. We can't get our hopes up because,
No.
Brooklyn just might say, yeah, we got Nikola Jokic.
There's no way. They would have to trade like...
But you never know.
They would have to trade Kevin Durant. They would have to. Like, there's no way.
Oh my god.
Man, that's
Or like,
absolutely nuts.
or Giannis might just go, yeah, I'm taking my talents to South Beach.
I'm taking my
You never
talents
know,
to...
man.
If I was Giannis, I would take my talents to Dallas.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Or if I was Jokic, I would take my talents to Dallas. Could you imagine?
Luka he's a good player, man. He is a dog.
Luka's one of those. I really feel like people are gonna want to go play with Luka. I mean, Dallas isn't the destination for anybody, but people are gonna see, and they're gonna want to go play with Luka to win games, because if once LeBron is out of the league and that Lakers team kind of falls apart, the West is wide open. Especially once the Warriors get older, the West is wide open. But dude, there's so much in free agency that just happens like on the spot, and it's like, whoa. Now I had a question here, and I want to get your opinion on this. So they re-signed Chris Paul to a $120 million deal. They also re-signed Cam Payne, his backup, for it was like a 3-year, $19 million deal or something. So with those guys back, they also got JaVale McGee, and I think they signed one more person. But do you think that the Suns stand a chance to run it back to the finals against a healthy Western Conference? Do you think they have even a remote chance?
Yeah.
Yeah? To go back all the way to the finals?
Well, the thing is I truly think that if you make it to the playoffs, anything can happen.
True.
But being realistic, maybe.
Yeah.
The Lakers, that's in their own division. The Clippers are in their own division. It's going to be rough for them to do that. They got the Warriors to face.
Yeah.
Probably not. I'd probably see them as a first to second round exit.
Yeah, it depends on how their seeding ends up, because if say the Suns end up as 3 or 4, they'll have to go against. I could see them being a second round exit, because basically the top 3 teams in the West are going to win. I think. You'll have the first seed will beat the 8th seed. Utah is going to beat Dallas, or they're going to beat Portland, and then LA or whoever. I think top 3 is going to win. So if Phoenix can get into the top 3 or even top 4, I feel like they would win, and they'd get to the second round. But then it would get a little dicey. I feel like next year we're going to have a lot of second round 7-game series.
Yeah, but we had some good series this year.
That's true.
In terms of the West, besides obviously, I'm not trying to discredit what the Suns did this year. They obviously got away with some injuries being on some other teams. I'm not discrediting them.
Right.
But I'm not just saying the Lakers either. Like the Clippers, they probably would have won it all probably if Kawhi Leonard did not get hurt.
See, people keep saying the Clippers, and I'm just like, I'm not that high on the Clippers, honestly. It's
I don't
more
know,
of
man.
a.
I just might like Kawhi a lot, but
See, I like Kawhi as well, but I just feel like a lot. See, you get these good teams, right? These championship teams. Look at the last few. Okay, you have. Except for this year, you have Giannis. There's what's the star point guard on the Bucks? Who was their star point guard?
oh, I guess
Or who was their starting point guard? Let's say it that way.
sometimes DiVincenzo.
See, I thought he was hurt. He's been hurt, so he didn't play in the finals.
So,
But
is it Drew?
oh, duh! I can't even believe I forgot about Drew Holiday. Of course, it was
Or is
Drew
he
Holiday.
shooting guard?
No, he was the point guard, I think. But I forgot all about Drew Holiday. So my bad. But you have him running the offense. Obviously Giannis is scoring 40 points a game, but you have your star point guard. The year before you have the Lakers, LeBron's your point guard. Let's be real. Year before that, you have Kyle Lowry. Year before that, you have Stephen Curry. And the year before that, Stephen Curry. You have all these good teams winning championships with elite point guards. And it might just be a coincidence, but, I feel like that's kind of why a team kind of like whoever we were just talking about. Clippers. To me, who's our starting point guard? Like freaking Patrick Beverly?
Well, technically, I think it's Reggie Jackson.
Reggie Jackson. He's, to me, you have the elite of the elitist of the elite forward defensive tandem. They have Paul George and you have Kawhi Leonard, but neither one of them are really the facilitator. You don't have a facilitator. Reggie Jackson takes a big shot. He can take a big shot, but is he like the facilitator? You have to have a guy that can have the ball in his hand at all times, but make stuff happen, like a LeBron or like a Drew Holiday.
Every team needs one.
Right. And so that's part of why I don't really feel too highly about the Clippers, because they have talent. They have a ton of talent. But you're going to get outplayed as a whole. You're going to get outplayed by, Russell Westbrook and the Lakers with LeBron. You're going to get outplayed by Phoenix with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. you're going to get outplayed by those teams because they are more savvy. Whereas the Clippers are like, let's lock them down and see if we can score. Whereas it's like, let's, facilitate around them and beat them strategically, as opposed to defend them. Which obviously defense is a great, defense wins championships, but you have to have the elite playmaking to go along with that, I feel like. Which is why I don't feel like the Clippers are going to win in the Kawhi PG era.
Maybe not. I mean, I definitely got the Lakers this year.
Oh, yeah.
People say stuff about the Lakers this year so far about them not being able, they won't be able to, how do I word this? Defenses will just crunch down and not really even guard the perimeter that much.
Right.
Because the Lakers don't have a good three-point shooter. And that's true, but the Lakers will be playing some old school basketball where they just say, I'm going to go to the paint, and you're going to try to stop me.
Right. And you have Dwight Howard now.
Yeah, is there any team that's going to be able to stop people going into the basket like Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, and Andre Drummond?
See, that's a great point because you can never stop a Russell Westbrook or a LeBron with a full head of steam. They're going to penetrate. They're going to penetrate. And if they don't penetrate, you'll have a big body Drummond or a big body Howard or a big body Davis to score in the paint. So
they might only put up 2 points a game. I mean, no, not 2 points a game. 2 points every possession.
Hey,
but
if you can do that at a 65% clip, I'll take it.
Exactly. And they're all effective. Like, people knock Westbrook for not being effective. That's his 3. His regular field goal percentage, he is an effective scorer.
Oh yeah. And he's a good mid-range shooter.
Yeah.
You don't have to. You can space the floor especially with the group he has around him. You have guys in the paint. You have a LeBron as a shooter. If you get Carmelo, you have a shooter. You don't need Russell Westbrook to shoot threes, but if he's open, he can make them. We've seen him do it. So
yeah, and
there's that.
If they keep Dennis Schroeder, he can make a 3.
Right.
THT can make a 3. Trevor Ariza can make a 3.
Right.
Marc Gasol can make a 3.
Marc Gasol is an underrated shooter. Marc Gasol is, and Anthony Davis can make threes too.
Yeah.
He just shot poorly last year.
They're obviously not elite 3-point shooters, but they can make a 3.
Right.
Russell Westbrook can make a 3. I know it's crazy to some people that he can do that, but he can make a 3 30% of the time.
People always forget LeBron was the best 3-point shooter on that team last year, shooting like 34% or something. So LeBron can make threes, and especially as he ages, his game's going to get further and further away from the basket.
And I used to say last year and the year before that the Bucks won't ever win because they don't got good 3-point shooters, and they got that and they won. Exactly. This is the one situation I think hardly ever in basketball where I would say that they don't need 3-point shooter.
Right. Because you just have first of all, their whole philosophy is we're going to get stars, we're going to get veterans that want to win and know how to play the right way. They don't need the ball. They will play a team brand of basketball. So if they all can come up, they're going to have some good chemistry, I feel, this year. Obviously, the beginning, there's going to be hiccups and there's going to be rough patches, working Westbrook into the system and working in everybody. But with all the veteran players, like, they're going to be something else because they're going to play a very old school, savvy brand of basketball, I think. They're going to be very savvy. Is a good word for it.
Very, very true.
And, they have THT, who's like 23, 22. He's like 21, 22 years old. And, he's a restricted free agent, so somebody could get him if they wanted him bad enough. I don't see it happening, but in the event that it happens, it happens. So they're going to be an old team. They're going to have age. Like, they're going to have a lot of 30-plus-year-olds. Because they've got Westbrook, who's like 31, 32. LeBron's 36. AD is, like 26, 27, 28. But then they got Gasol, who's 34. Drummond's upper 20s. They'll have Trevor Ariza, who's 30-something. Carmelo, who's 30-something. And they're still filling out those spots. Dwight.
Yeah.
It's going to be they're going to be kind of on the Miami Heat trajectory where they play a really gritty brand of basketball. They're going to be gritty.
Yeah, man, I love that.
Wow. There's just a lot of game-changing things that have happened just in the last 3 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think Chris Paul retires with the Suns. Back to the Phoenix conversation. You know, he signed that like that long-term deal. I think he retires with Phoenix. He makes, 1 or 2 more good runs in the playoffs and then retires with Phoenix. Other than that, I think that's all the stuff I have written down. So, do you have anything else you would want to talk about?
No, we pretty much covered everything I had to say.
Yeah, at least for today, because there's obviously free agency. It's like a 2-week long ordeal, and there's going to be a lot of minimum deals getting signed, which I feel like during the back end of free agencies when the Lakers are going to make a lot of their big moves, or they're under the radar, underrated type moves. They're going to get a lot of veteran minimum guys.
Yep.
I could definitely see that, but I think so far in the first 3 hours of free agency, it's been kind of insane, and there's a lot of good takes to be had, lots of potential, lots of questions up in the air, but I think that's about all we've got for today. Any closing statements, any words of wisdom, Eli, you would like to give to the wonderful people that have listened today?
Just gotta say, Heat and Lakers, man.
Heat Lakers. Okay, so we're putting it on stone here. We're calling it. Are we calling Heat Lakers 2022 finals?
Unless something crazy happens, Heat and Lakers. That's it right now.
All right. I could see it. I could definitely see it. We're going to have a rematch of the bubble. And see, this is going to be a good one because you'll get the bubble matchup, but post-bubble.
Yeah.
So it'll be real deal, 100%, like how it'll go. And it would be a really good, 5, 6, 7 game series, I feel like. But with all of that, thanks, Eli, a ton for coming on with me, man. It's been a great conversation. This is for sure the longest podcast I've done because I could go on for hours and hours and hours.
Basketball's like that, man.
You could just go, and especially since it's free agency, it's like it's all coming in. There's new stuff coming in every few minutes. Like you're getting updates all the time. So, but super awesome talking, man. And there's gonna be a lot more. So, if you guys enjoyed this episode, be sure to let me know in the comments or leave a review wherever you're listening to this or watching this. But thanks again, man, for coming on. It's been great. And everybody out there, I hope you all enjoyed. And if you did, if you're on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, comment down below your thoughts. Also, subscribe to the channel for more. Let me know if you like the basketball talk style of show because this is the first basketball podcast I've done. So let me know if you liked it. Let me know if you want to see more kind of like this, me talking about different things, having people on, talking with them about it. But thank you guys so much for supporting the show. And without further ado, guys, this has been Gare the Bear. Thank you for watching another episode of the Gare the Bear Show or listening, whatever you're doing. And I'll see you all again next time. Peace.